Nick, hey, congratulations on Haymaker.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
So this is an exciting project for you because this is a debut of you entirely, director, writer, acting.
Yeah. It's wild. It's a wild ride. Yeah, for sure.
So where did you get the original idea for Haymaker in the first place?
Sure. Yeah. Well, it started out. I had a couple other scripts that had been struggling to get off the ground. One in particular that came really close, that I wasn't acting in, that I was just going to be the writer director on. And shortly after that, I was sort of like thinking, okay, well, what's next for this um, for this script, that script that I written? And the feedback was pretty much, well, what else do you have? And so that really was a crazy moment, because the truth was that I really knew that I wanted to tell stories on screen, and I realized that the less people perhaps that I needed to depend on, the more likely the odds were that somebody outside of the system could potentially get it made. So I knew, I've been boxing and training Muay Thai for so many years, 15 some odd years, and I knew that I should say I had a sense that I hadn't seen anyone on screen in those roles, kind of with that kind of a skill set, that could be an add value to the story. And so from there, it just started to kind of germinate. It was like, I want to do a fight movie, but I don't want to just have it be about the fighting. I want there to be a heart and soul to the movie. And I was inspired by Silver Lining Playbook, which I felt like had a little bit for everybody. I felt like there were a bunch of other movies that I could just rattle off, that were inspirational for me, like the Safdie brothers, Heaven Knows What, all the stuff of Zemeckis. So it's like all that stuff just kind of percolated up in my brain, and at some point it just sort of came out.
Well, let's talk about the bulk of the movie, which is because contrary to, a lot of people would think it's a fight movie, but 2/3 of it is actually a romance movie. And in the theme of, like, I was thinking like Kevin Costner's in Bodyguard.
Oh
Actually.
yeah, for sure, classic. Yep. I love that director too. He also did L.A. Story, was one of my favorite movies. Great director. Yep.
Yeah. So talk about developing the romantic parts, which is I want to say about 2/3 of the movie with Nomi Ruiz. Why is she perfect to play your counterpart?
For sure. Yeah. Well, we started when I wrote the script. As I started to get close to the end, I started realizing, like, I really wanted to have these performances. I really wanted it to be not so much about Bodyguard, but in terms of this contrast, because I knew that we'd have this really authentic fighting. But I said, a great complement to that would be these music performances. And I knew Nomi peripherally through some of our music connections in New York. I was living in New York at the time. And I reached out to our mutual friend, Marcos Garcia, aka Chico Man, who also has some music in the movie. And I said, can you make an introduction? I sent her the script, and then I went and I met her. And I didn't send her the script. I said, listen, I have to come talk to you about this first. So I went and I just basically acted out the whole movie for her. And I was like, okay, now you can read the script, because I could see she was so interested. And, then I was like, it has to be her, because we got together, we read the script with my acting coach, Grace Kiley, at the time. And we just felt like there was this instant kind of connection that really was gonna, if we kept rehearsing, we kept working out the script, that it would really, we felt, connect and translate on screen. And so together we really found that through an intensive rehearsal process. And that also freed us up, because we're on an independent budget. We're like flying by the seat of our pants. We can't always get the coverage we need. So at least we could depend on our performances, or we thought we could, and it kind of blossomed from there. I hope that answered your question.
Was it easier to get a professional performer like Nomi on board into something like this, into the role of a singer? And did you also convince her to go ahead and come up with a couple of songs for the film?
Good question. Yeah, no, I think it was all kind of, it all kind of happened. It kind of just started happening naturally. It was like, there were these bench. I also knew, as from knowing her music, that was like, if we could find like the pieces of music that kind of resonate with the movie, it will just bring it up to like a whole other level. You know what I mean? So it all kind of happened. It kind of just rolled naturally, if that makes any sense, in terms of the progression and in terms of getting it made.
Tell me about all the different locations that you want to basically put into this film, because I know independent projects, you have to keep your budget low, but you practically went all over the world for something like this.
Did and we did it on a shoestring, and a lot of that I give a lot of credit to a lot of folks who either were giving us equipment, for like basically nothing, or specifically with regard to Greece, Nomi has a lot of connections out in Greece. She's actually quite popular out there. She's performed in stadiums out there, so that kind of was a natural progression for us to take advantage of those relationships. We all stayed, the whole crew. We were a motley little documentary-sized crew, and we basically just sort of camped out in a villa out there and traveled and did what we had to do to get the shots from place to place. And in Thailand, Brett Hlavacek's, producer on the movie as well. He's a WBC fighter who is amazing, a good friend. He was my trainer at one point. He's a world-class fighter. This guy is incredible, and he's well connected in the Muay Thai community, the professional Muay Thai community. And so he was key in our relationships in Thailand and helping get that relationship going and helping us get over there to shoot. And the crews over there, the crews in all these locations were just absolutely incredible. And so yeah, it was like, again, it was one of those sort of things where like I wrote it thinking like, okay, I could probably get us to Thailand. Like, it was always sort of in my mind, like, but like it was like a hope. Like, I think we could do it. And then the Mexico City stuff, that was really spur of the moment, last minute. It was like, we needed a big performance. Nomi and I kept telling her that, and she called me up and said, I'm going to be going down. This might be the thing we need. So literally my DP came, set up a camera. We wrapped it in towels, put it in a backpack. And I just went with her and we filmed that. And then we had that scene. So it was like, we did whatever we could to get, the shots we needed, the locations we needed,
A lot of people love to do fight movies. It's either going to be like, those UFC style fight movies, or you jujitsu and so on. What is your love about Muay Thai? Why is Muay Thai so special to you?
I could talk about that for a really long time. For starters, the culture of the art is one that really both hardens you in terms of making you tough, but also humbles you, and also builds relationships and connections to the people you train with. So there's a real sense of like the people you're sparring, the people that are really working you hard. You're there to build each other up, not to prove I'm the best person in the gym. And that's not to say that there aren't folks out there that are able to do that too, right? There are the best in the gym who are like, that's what they're going to do. But for us, for me in particular, finding this art early on and realizing that it was something that not only, puts you in great shape and uses your whole body and your mind, but you're also engaged in something that really develops you as a human being. And if anyone who's ever been to Thailand, can attest to this, like the people in Thailand are like some of the most wonderful people on earth. And the country was so open to us and so willing to help us. And I think that, that's something that I just hope to show folks that, this is a wonderful part of the world with a wonderful culture around this martial art, which is an ancient martial art. And I think it's something that, it's growing in popularity, and I just hope more people can find it, because of all those things out there, this is, I think, what lots of people would really respond to,
Absolutely. Well, I really appreciate you doing this interview and doing the film Haymaker. So I'll just leave you with this. สวัสดีครับ ขอบคุณนะครับทำหนังแบบนี้
That's great, man. That's great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Next time, Nick.
All right. Take care.